Have you been thinking about homeschooling but not quite sure if you're up for it or if it's right for your family? Here are 3 scenarios in which I would never homeschool. Scenario 1, I would never homeschool if I did not enjoy parenting. At its root, in its most basic form, homeschooling is an extension of parenting. And I know if I don't enjoy parenting, I'm definitely not going to enjoy homeschool. Now hear me out. I am not saying that I would not love my child. Of course I would. But there are some parents, and if we're being honest, I'm sure you can think of at least one, that love their child deeply and cares for their children deeply, but they just don't enjoy parenting. Before deciding to stay home full time, I was working doing mobile prosthetics and working very closely with physical therapists and skilled nursing facilities. So as I was making my round to notify them that I would no longer be able to provide prosthetic services for their amputees, 99% of the responses were really positive. They were excited for me to have the opportunity to stay at home with my kids. But there was that 1% that when I told them, they looked at me like I had 3 heads. They could absolutely not imagine or fathom staying home with their kids all the time. These were the parents that dreaded summer and holiday breaks and could not wait for school to start again. Again, I'm not saying these parents don't love or don't care for their children. I know they do. But there are a lot of aspects of parenting that they just don't enjoy. And they would be absolutely miserable if they tried homeschooling, and so would their kids. And it would not do the parents' relationship with their kids any favor to try and homeschool. But here's some encouragement, because let me tell you, there are times when I don't necessarily enjoy parenting either. And there are a lot of challenging and difficult times, no doubt. But there are a lot of great, wonderful moments as well. Psalm 127:3 says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward." But it is a full-time job. In Deuteronomy 6, we read, "These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on the gates." So maybe you are in a really challenging season right now and just parenting is not bringing you any joy at all, but you still feel this tug to homeschool. I would just encourage you to pray and ask God to change your heart and reframe some of your thinking about parenting, and ask Him to help you get to a place of peace and joy. Colossians 3:15 says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Since you are members of one body, you were called to peace, and be thankful." I've recently been going through the book Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and this is what she has to say about this verse. You have the God-given ability to take a step back, observe your own thinking, and then to consult God to either change a negative toxic thought or to grow a healthy positive thought. When this happens, a positive neurochemical rush happens along with structural changes to improve our intellect, our health, and our peace. I know for me, and I know from talking to other moms, I feel this is a common theme. I did not grow up in the most peaceful home. And my mind, body, soul, it was used to being in this stressed state. So fast forward, what does that look like now? I tend to be very reactive, yelling, not being calm or peaceful. So I have to be constantly working on taking every thought captive, consulting God, praying through it so that I can operate not out of that stress state, but out of a state of peace and rest and joy. So all that to say, I would never homeschool if I genuinely did not enjoy parenting. But if you're thinking about homeschooling and are in a season of overwhelm and very little joy, know I have been there along with many other moms. And there is hope. And if you have any specific struggles you're working through or questions, please let me know down in the comments. Scenario 2, I would never homeschool if I did not enjoy learning or was a lifelong learner. In our home, from day one, we have always strived to create an atmosphere of curiosity and wonder and valuing our children's questions. So many wonderful things in this world to be curious about. We feel our kids should see us reading the Bible and exploring our own questions and learning more things ourselves. I also love it when our kids get excited about little things like seeing a mushroom on a hike. But partly why they get so excited and curious is they see my husband and I get so excited and curious when we see these little things and point them out to them. Homeschooling requires ongoing growth. I don't know everything, and I don't need to know everything. As my children get into higher level of academics, there's probably going to be things I don't know or don't remember or probably was never even taught, but I have the opportunity to grow and learn alongside my children, which is a beautiful thing. And we've been called by God to grow in knowledge and wisdom. Proverbs 1 says, "Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. For fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and instruction." Scenario 3. I would never homeschool if I was not ready or prepared to come to the end of myself. Let me explain. Homeschooling has definitely exposed some of my weaknesses in a good way. It's not just about teaching math, but confronting my own impatience, control issues, pride, perfectionism, insecurities, and limitations. But thankfully, James tells us that if anyone lacks wisdom, all we need to do is ask God, who gives freely and generously. Starting to homeschool has been one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also the most rewarding and sanctifying. I feel this is where God was leading our family, and every day He is equipping me for this very good work, and He will do the same for you. A word that has been popping up continuously for me is the word abide, which we find in John 15. This season is not about having it all figured out, but abiding intimately with Jesus and drawing closer to Him. Our weakness and limitations make opportunities for us to cooperatively work with God in our homes, our personal lives, and the lives of our children. So if I did not enjoy parenting, and I was not a lifelong learner, and I was not prepared to come to the end of myself, truly rely completely on Jesus, I would never homeschool. But if you feel that tug to homeschool, but you find yourself in one of these 3 categories, it is not a disqualifier. And for myself, one of the things that has helped work through some of these things and to have encouragement on those really hard, tough days or seasons is to know my why. Why am I homeschooling? What is my vision and mission for my family? Subscribe and stay tuned. That is exactly what the next series of videos is going to be about. We're going to dive in dream casting, fear casting, and we're also going to walk through together step by step how to put on paper a family mission vision statement and to really nail down your why of why you want to homeschool. So stay tuned, and I'll see you for the upcoming series.